introduction, which is we explain about the background of the product. Okay, chocolate production begins with the cultivating Theobroma cacao, which is a tree native to Central and South America. So the Olmecs, Mayans, and the Aztecs first used cacao as a ceremonial beverage, and the Aztecs considered it as sacred. So then, Spanish colonization introduced cacao to Europe in the 16th century, where sugar and milk transformed it into a luxury drink. Then the Industrial Revolution and innovations like the cocoa press in 1838 and the milk chocolate in 1875 revolutionized chocolate production. So the chocolate making process includes 5 stages. Okay, first of all is cultivation and harvesting, which is cacao pods are manually harvested to protect the beans. Second step is fermentation and drying, which beans are ferment for 5 to 7 days to develop flavor, then dry it under the sunlight. Okay, the third step is roasting and cracking, which is the roasting enhances the aroma that beans are cracked to extract the cacao nibs. So for the fourth steps is grinding and conching. Nibs are ground into chocolate liquor, then refined for smoothness. Then the last step is tempering and molding, which tempering destabilizes cocoa butter for a glossy, firm texture before molding it into final product. So the objective of this test is to determine whether the panelists can detect the difference in sweetness levels between milk chocolate and dark chocolate from barrels. So we proceed to the problem statements of this project. Okay, first of all, in the competitive chocolate market, even small changes in the product sweetness, bitterness, or texture can actually impact the consumer choice. So the reformulations or process modifications such as sugar reduction or new ingredients added actually may subtly alter these characteristics. So this project actually ensures the product consistency, validates changes, and optimizes the formulations while maintaining the quality and consumer satisfaction. Overall, by identifying the specific sensory differences, actually we can refine the chocolate production to meet the brand standards and enhance the market acceptance. For the type of sensory use, actually a sensory analysis was conducted to compare the sweetness intensity of barrels, milk, and dark chocolate. So this test is actually a directional pack comparison test, which is a type of discrimination test, and it was used to determine if the panelists could perceive a difference and identify the sweeter sample. So this method is simple, just requires minimal sample size, and is widely used in the food sensory analysis to detect subtle difference in formulation, ingredients, or processing process. So it plays a crucial role in ensuring the product consistency, optimizing formulations, and maintaining high quality in the competitive chocolate market. In this test, we have 2 hypotheses, which are: first is null hypothesis. It is stated that there is no significant difference in the perceived intensity of sweetness levels between sample A, which is milk chocolate, and sample B, which is dark chocolate. So the second hypothesis is alternative hypothesis. It is stated that there is a significant difference in the perceived intensity of sweetness levels between sample A, which is milk chocolate, and sample B, which is dark chocolate, with one sample exhibiting a higher sweetness level than the other.
In this evaluation, we had a total of 60 panelists, which are mainly university students aged between 21 until 25 years old. A majority of them were regular chocolate consumers, making them very ideal for this test. So in this test, we used 2 types of chocolates, which are the Barrels chocolate milk chocolate and also the Barrels chocolate dark chocolate. The Barrels chocolate milk chocolate has 48.4% of sugar, and 8% of cocoa content. Meanwhile, the dark chocolate has 45.6% of sugar and 19% of cocoa content. This variation gives us a clear contrast in sweetness perception. The directional paired comparison test was conducted, where the panelists were given 2 coded chocolate samples in randomized order and asked to identify which one is the sweeter one. To ensure accurate result, a blind test method was used. Panelists also rinsed their mouth in between with distilled water. After collecting responses through written ballots, data was analyzed using chi-square and proportion tests to determine if the difference in sweetness was statistically significant. To ensure controlled tasting experience, the chocolate was served on white trays in a neutral lit and quiet environment, in order to help panelists to focus solely on the sweetness perception without any distraction. The result shows that 85% of the panelists can correctly identify milk chocolate as the sweetest sample, proving that there is a clear difference in sweetness perception between the two. Using the Minitab, Excel, and manual calculation, we have statistically confirmed that milk chocolate has a significantly higher sweetness intensity than the dark chocolate, aligning with its higher sugar content.
Okay, for the result part, a total of 60 panelists participated in the test, with the majority being are female, which is 36 panelists, and the remaining 24 are male. The total correct responses where panelists successfully identified the sweetest sample, which is milk chocolate, were 51, while the other 9 panelists incorrectly chose dark chocolate. Based on the consumer survey conducted, 29 panelists prefer milk chocolate as their personal choice, while 22 prefer dark chocolate. The highest vote for milk chocolate as their preferred chocolate also can indicate that most panelists were able to differentiate between the two.
The sensory study confirmed that milk chocolate is perceived as sweeter than dark chocolate, with 51 out of 60 panelists selecting it as the sweeter option. This aligns with existing research, which highlights how mixed solids and sugar content enhance sweetness while reducing bitterness. The study reinforces that sweetness perception is influenced not just by sugar levels, but also by ingredient interactions, making milk chocolate the preferred choice for those favoring a sweeter taste. The calculated chi-square value, which is 29.4, exceeded the critical value 3.841. This led to rejecting the null hypothesis, confirming that milk chocolate is perceived as a chi-square test found a significant difference in sweetness perception between milk and dark chocolate, with 51 panelists choosing milk chocolate and 9 choosing dark chocolate. The test result showed a chi-square value of 28.02, which was much higher than the critical value of 3.841. At 0.05 significance level, the F equal to 1. Additionally, the p-value was extremely low, further confirming statistical significance, since 28.02 more than 3.841, the null hypothesis was rejected, proving that milk chocolate is perceived as significant sweeter than dark chocolate.
Okay, next, we are also using a Minitab. By using the Minitab software, we use chi-square table at 5% level of significance with degree of freedom 1. We got 3.841 as the value from the chi-square table. Chi-square calculation value is 29.4, which is more greater than chi-square from the table. It means the samples are significantly different at 5% level of significant test. So, we can reject the null hypothesis. We can say that most of panelists can detect the differences in terms of level of sweetness between the milk chocolate and also from the dark chocolate. We can also use a wine proportion test in Minitab to analyze the data. The null hypothesis is P equal to 0.5, while the alternative hypothesis is P is not equal to 0.5. After running the test, we obtained a p-value of 0.0000. This extremely small p-value provides strong evidence against the null hypothesis. Since the p-value is less than 0.05, which is our significant level, we reject the null hypothesis and conclude that there are significant difference between the two samples. Okay, for the discussion part, the parameters evaluated in the directional pair comparison test are to determine the panelist responses and assess the intensity of a specific sensory attribute between milk chocolate and dark chocolate among the panelists. The high percentage of correct responses suggests that the differences in sweetness between the two samples, which are milk chocolate and dark chocolate, were noticeable to most panelists and also support the hypothesis that we stated before. Also, the research from the Journal of Sensory Studies indicates that milk chocolate is more perceived as sweeter than other chocolate. And it supports the finding that most panelists prefer milk chocolate and can differentiate it. Lastly, the information from the test is useful. Why? Because it can be used in a variety field like food science education and sensory training by doing the product development, marketing and research. So for the conclusion, overall the objective of this test conducted was to determine whether the panelists could perceive a difference in sweetness and correctly define or identify the sweeter chocolate samples. So this goal was successfully achieved as the results of the test, which is the directional pair comparison test, showed a significant difference. So based on the results, 51 out of 60 panelists, which is 85% of them, made the correct judgments, while 9 panelists, which is 50% of them, did not. So the data were analyzed using 3 different methods, which are first, manual calculations, Microsoft Excel, and Minitab. So the results from all 3 approaches of these methods are consistently showed a significant difference, which leading to the rejection of the null hypothesis. So this confirms that the panelists were able to detect the sensory differences between the 2 chocolate samples. So the observed difference in sweetness aligns with the variation in sugar content between the samples, which milk chocolate contains 48.4% sugar content, whereas dark chocolate has 45.6%, resulting in a 2.8% difference in sugar content. That's all from us. Thank you very much.